Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Max Kevin podcast. I am Max Kevin. If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you'll probably be wondering, where's the music? Where's the intro music? Well, I decided to get rid of the intro music there, I was looking at the analytics there. Looks like everyone who views the podcast there, they tune out when the intro music comes on. That's, it could just be a coincidence. Most people tune out basically at that same time anyway, They last like 15 seconds, but I don't know, maybe the music is turning people away. I don't know. I gotta listen to the analytics, all right? I gotta do what the analytics does, I gotta do what the analytics tell me, okay? I'm an NFL quarterback, or not an NFL quarterback. I'm an NFL coach. I gotta do what the analytics tell me. It's 4th and 2 on my own 30. I should punt it, but the analytics tell me to run it. Oops, the run didn't work. Now we're down 20 points. Maybe I shouldn't listen to the analytics. Anyway, I think I'm just going to start my my podcast like Tim Dillon starts his podcast. He always says, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon podcast. I kind of like that, I feel like, I want to emulate success more. I'm going to emulate more successful people. I think more people should do that. They should emulate success. A lot of people don't want to do that because they didn't come up with it. It's not their idea. It's like, well, that's not my idea. Why should I do what that guy did? That's just well, he's successful, You should do what the successful people do. Yeah. So anyway, that's what Tim Dillon does. He starts all of his podcasts with, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon podcast. So I think I'll start doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Max Kevin podcast. And basically, if you think about it, me and Tim Dillon are basically like exactly the same. Except, he's much fatter than me and much gayer. He likes men a lot more than me. He has more hair than me. He's funnier than me. He's also much more successful than me. But basically, besides those things, we're basically almost the exact same person. Me and Tim Dillon there. We both have 2 first names. Tim, Dillon, Max, Kevin. Of course, mine is a stage name. Let's see what's going on in my life. Did a Japanese show this weekend. There was an 8-year-old girl in the audience there. Not exactly sure why these people brought their 8-year-old girl to the comedy show there. Of course, my opening joke, I talk about broken condoms there, I'm joking with one of the Japanese comedians there. He's like, what's this? What am I going to do here? I can't change my jokes. And it's like I don't have a large supply of Japanese jokes, I got a pretty small supply there. And my opening joke is talking about broken condoms. It's this 8-year-old girl. She's going to hear that joke. She's going to be saying to her mom, it's like, Mommy, what's a condom? Oh, boy. Anyway, I think she enjoyed the show. I think the 8-year-old girl enjoyed the show. She probably didn't understand any of my jokes there, but I'm sure she was happy that her mom and grandma. It was a 3-generation. It was a grandma, mom, and their 8-year-old daughter. I wonder who enjoyed my broken condom joke the most. If it was the grandma, the mom, or the 8-year-old girl. I'm gonna go with grandma. Grandma's probably the coolest there. Anyway, that's about it going on in my life. Let's see if there's anything else. If there's anything else going on in my life, I was looking at the podcast analytics there. My last podcast got 18 views. Of course, 16 of those people stopped watching after 15 seconds. So I got 2 views. I think one of those was me, actually. So I got one other person that watches this on YouTube. I spend probably 8 hours a week, doing this podcast and editing the clips and all that, Totally worth it. It's definitely worth it. I'm not wasting my time or wasting my life. I hope that one person watching this on YouTube, I hope you're enjoying this. You better click like and write a comment, all right? I'm doing this all for you. And if you can't like and comment, if you can't start a political fight in the comment, now come on. You're the only person that's watching this damn thing. Click like and write a comment. All right, anyway, shall we start talking about the news? Let's make jokes about the news.
Make jokes about the news. It's time to make jokes about the news. We're making jokes about the news because everything sucks.
All right, we still got the segment music, you know. If you were missing the music, don't worry. We still got the segment music. Sad news, Patrick Muldoon, actor in Starship Troopers, Days of Our Lives, and Melrose Place, dies after getting his brain sucked out by a bug on Clendathu. Of course, that wasn't his real cause of death. You know, maybe I shouldn't joke about that, you know, sad news. Dies at 53. Oh, man, 53 years old. Oh, no, 57. 57 years old. That's quite early. That's quite early, you know. Of course, I remember this guy from, not from Melrose Place because I didn't watch that crap, but I do remember him from Starship Troopers. Goddamn bugs whacked us, Johnny. That's a great movie, Starship Troopers. Special effects still hold up, you know. Denise Richards is in there. You know, she's got her fake boobs and her fake teeth, and she's, you know, she's a love interest. You know, there's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of nudity in that movie, but not Denise Richards. She saved her nudity for the movie Wild Things. Which, you know, as a young teenage boy watching Starship Troopers, I was very disappointed that I didn't get to see Denise Richards naked when there was so much other nudity in that movie. We got to see the other girl, the other love interest girl. What was her name? I can't remember. She got naked a lot in that movie. She was all right looking, I guess, you know. Anyway, great movie. Starship Troopers. It's made by Paul Verhoeven. Also made RoboCop. Man, that guy was on fire in the 80s and 90s there, huh? RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers. It's a great movie. The only good bug is a dead bug. I still believe that to this day, you know. I don't like bugs. There's all these mosquitoes in Japan, you know. There's mosquitoes in the summer. We got the cicadas in the summer there. Every day you wake up in the summer and you just hear this. It's like goddamn cicadas. The only good bug is a dead bug. Of course, other sad news. Another celebrity death. Garret Anderson, former Angels baseball star. Garret Anderson dies. He died at 53. Now that's young, man. Patrick Muldoon dies at 57. Garret Anderson dies at 53. Oof, man, two dudes taken before their time. In your wisdom, Lord, you took them, like so many bright and flowering young men. At Quezon, at Londoc, at Hill 364. These men gave their lives. And so did Patrick Muldoon and Garret Anderson. You know, of course, growing up as a kid, as an Angels fan, you know, Garret Anderson was he was a hot commodity, you know. We had Garret Anderson, we had Tim Salmon. We had, who else do we have? We had Big John Lackey. Who else did we have? I can't remember who was on that team. Eckstein. Was Eckstein on the team, or did he get traded? I can't remember. I remember watching, we had the Eckstein would go up first, then Ertstad would go up second. And I think Tim Salmon was kind of old at that time, so he would go up like a little last. Maybe Garret Anderson would go up third, fourth, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he was a big player in the, you know, he was the power hitter of the Angels when they won that World Series there. That was the highlight of my young adulthood there, being an Angels fan growing up, you know, and they always suck. But then 2002 comes along and they're hot. They got Garret Anderson. They got some other players, you know. Anyway, buddy of mine, he saw Garret Anderson one time at the gas station after he had won the home run derby. And he's like, "Are you Garret Anderson?" And Garret Anderson says, "Yeah." And my friend says, "Congratulations on the home run derby." And then Garret Anderson says, "Thanks." And then that was it. Then he finished gassing up his car and left, you know. That's the end of the story. Okay, same buddy of mine, you know, he kind of looked like Jake Busey's. He kind of looked like Jake Busey, right? Another star of Starship Troopers. And one time we were at an Angels game, and he saw Jake Busey walking around, and I'm the one that told him he looks like Jake Busey, so he never would have known until I told him. And so he sees him, like I'm in the bathroom, and he sees him walking around. And he couldn't remember the guy's first name. He's like, Busey. And then Jake Busey turns around and he says, hey, what's up, man? And, well, that's the end of that story. Anyway, those just two stories that tie in, Garret Anderson and Paul Muldoon, it all comes in full circle. Starship Troopers, Angels baseball. Okay, here's the devil's bet. You die in your 50s, but you get to star, you get to be a movie star, you get to be an actor, you get to win the World Series. What do you choose? Do you choose the boring life or do you choose the exciting life? I don't know, it's tough to say. Winning a World Series, that's got to be pretty fun, That's got to be a good memory. But you die at 53. Oof. I don't know, man. That's tough. Anyway, next story. The Straits of Hormuz are closed again. Yeah, they opened them on Friday. Yeah, Friday comes along. War's over. Everything's fine. Straits are open. Markets are up. And then Saturday, straits are closed again. Remember how that didn't last long? 24 hours, huh? 24 hours, huh? This is going to become like a Taylor Swift song, Like Taylor Swift is always like writing songs about her breakups, I feel like this is like the breakup between Trump and Iran, They're going to write like a song, It's like you opened up your straits to me, but then you closed them the next day. Why are you sending me these mixed signals? Don't you ever break up me, you son of a bitch. I'll write a song about you and the whole world will know that you're a little bastard because I have millions of fans and I make $1 billion a year on my tour. For the first time, I'm so alive. What's her other songs go? I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. What's Taylor Swift gonna do now that she's married, Man, when she gets divorced from Travis Kelce, she's gonna write the longest song. That's gonna be like an opera. She's gonna write a one-woman opera when they get divorced. It's going to be like, you were much bigger than all my other boyfriends. I used to date skinny musician dudes. But you're like 6'5", 300 pounds, so you're so much bigger than them. So I feel so much safer with you. And all my other ex-boyfriends are so much jealous because your dick is probably much bigger. Yeah, anyway, what do you think? Yeah, oh man. Yeah, the markets, the oil prices there, they don't know what to do with the war here, because it's like every day. Trump keeps trying to end the war every day, like just by like tweeting about it. I don't know. He thinks if he just tweets about it, it'll end. He just tweets, "It's over, everything's fine," and then Iran just like starts bombing stuff again. Oh boy, yeah. I guess America fired on some Iranian ship there, took it over. I don't know. Is that good? I don't know. This is definitely going to be a disaster. I still don't really understand is the the gold prices. When the oil price goes up, the gold prices go down. But don't people realize how much of a disaster this is going to be for America and like the debt and the dollar? Like, oh boy. Anyway, enough hot political talk. Let's go to the next story here. How long poop stays in your body may impact your health. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Who would have thought? Holding your poop in isn't the best? Being constipated isn't the best base for longevity. Just eating fast food and no fiber and not pooping for days. Maybe that's not so good for your health. I don't know if you guys have a high fiber diet. Yeah, I was listening to this nutritionist talk about basically like it doesn't really matter what you eat as long as you restrict your calories. Like basically the only thing that matters is your total calories, and then also fiber. So there's only two things that matter for longevity. It's calorie intake and fiber. So after I started eating more fiber, started eating more vegetables, more cabbage. I eat a lot of cabbage, spinach, a lot of leafy greens. Yeah, so, I stay regular, I like to be a healthy boy. I don't hold my poop in. I don't know if you guys hold, I try to tell this to my dog, Zorro. I'm like, I tell him go outside. I'm like, all right, Zorro, go poop. Go poop. Don't hold your poop in, Zorro. All right? It's bad for your health. Start pooping. Don't poop on the carpet anymore. Stop pooping on the carpet, all right? Don't tell me it's good for your health, all right? I don't care. Go poop outside, you dumb dog. Oh, anyway, okay, next story. Ultra-processed foods are turning human thighs into well-marbled steaks. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, a fat person, but, usually I'm kind of, like, disgusted when I see morbidly obese people, but now, after I've seen these x-rays, now I'm just thinking, wow, they look delicious. Like, I don't know if you guys are into cannibalism, or have you ever, like, dipped your toe into cannibalism, just like experimenting. People like experiment with their sexuality in college. I don't know if you guys ever experimented with cannibalism in college, when you were a student. People do different diets, like people tried vegetarian or vegan or carnivore, why not just dip your toe into a little cannibalism there, why not? Those dead bodies are just going to waste. We should do something with them, look how delicious these thighs look. It looks like a delicious steak. I just want to put a little butter on those thighs, man. Lady, I just want to eat your thighs. I don't think you should say that to anyone on the street. If you're walking on the street and you see a morbidly obese woman, don't go up to her and say, "Hey, baby, I want to eat your thighs." I think, well, actually, she might be into that, but might not be the best idea. You might be accused of harassment there. Yeah, this is a big problem here, huh? Americans are a bunch of fatties. Of course, we got the Ozempic now. Everyone's on the Ozempic there. But you still can't, it's hard to stop eating Reese's Pieces, even when you're on the Ozempic, Those Reese's Pieces, they got that candy-coated shell there. It's delicious. So eat healthy food, of course, which is a problem with the next story here. Eating more fruits and vegetables is tied to unexpected lung cancer risk. Oh, okay, dude. Okay. I was morbidly obese. I was just eating Reese's Pieces and Goobers and Starburst. I started my day with a pack of Starburst. Then I changed it up. I just had some Skittles until lunchtime. And then I went full on with a bucket of Reese's Pieces. But then I decided to make a change in my life. I was sick of my thighs being well-marbled steaks. So I started to eat more fruits and vegetables. And then 2 years later, I get lung cancer. What are people supposed to do, How are people supposed to eat healthy when fruits and vegetables give you lung cancer? Those are your choices, kids. You can either have well-marbled steaks, people want to become a carnivore and eat you, or you can be healthy and eat fruits and vegetables and get lung cancer, Fruits and vegetables are right up there with cigarettes and living next to a coal power plant as far as health. It's basic science, all right? If you eat fruits and vegetables, you're going to get lung cancer. So you might as well just eat Reese's Pieces. I don't know. I didn't read this article. I don't know if it's because of some chemical or something in the vegetables. Yeah. I don't know. I never understood how fruits are categorized with vegetables, People are like, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. It's like, well, fruits are not that healthy. They're just a bunch of sugar. It's like, yeah, they got some fiber, but you can get all the fiber from fruit from a vegetable, without the 100 grams of sugar there, I'm not sure telling morbidly obese people to eat more fruit is a good idea, I don't think the 100 grams of fructose is going to help them regulate their blood sugar, Just say eat more vegetables. That's it, And no, a potato is not a vegetable. French fries are not vegetables, all right? Americans. Oh, Americans. Anywho, all right, let's go to the next story here. Kenyan court jails Chinese man in ant smuggling case. Well, this is interesting, you know. I didn't even realize you could. There's a market for this, you know. I guess in China, people they want ants. They want ants from Kenya, you know. Those Chinese guys, you know. I guess the hot thing was to eat the rhino horns, but I guess that went out of style. So now they're doing the ants, you know. Like, I want to live a long time, and I want to have a lot of energy in the bedroom. Can you get me some Kenyan ants? I'm gonna ground them up and snort them. I heard that'll give me more. No, I don't want to try Viagra. I want the Kenyan ants. All right? That's how we do it here in China. We don't take. There's side effects with Viagra. You can have an erection that lasts longer than 4 hours. All right? I don't want that. I just want to snort these Kenyan ants. Imagine you're a smuggler, right? You know, you're a smuggler. You're like making money in the black market there, you know, and one of your clients is like, all right, I need you to go to Kenya and pick up a package for me. It's like, all right, what are we doing? Gold? Drugs? No, ants. And like, all right, are you sure you don't want drugs? You want me to smuggle ants? Okay. Can I also smuggle drugs too, or just the ants? I wonder if he smuggled the ants in his pants. Get it? He had ants in his pants, and he went all the way to China. See, this is okay. You know, these songs I learned as a little kid, you know, really confused me with this story here, because I feel like if you're smuggling ants in your pants, you should definitely go to France and do the chicken dance. You know. This Chinese man, he put ants in his pants from Kenya, and he took them to China. That doesn't rhyme. What's this guy? That was his first mistake. You know, if he didn't want to get caught, he should have definitely done something that could rhyme. You know? I put Kenyan ants in my pants, and I went to China with no drugs or gold, and then I got caught. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen these type of. I've seen like bees, people smuggling bees and stuff, and people. I don't know. People smuggle anything, huh? People will put anything up their butt when they go on the airplane, huh? Where did he put the ants? That's what I want to know. I want to know where he. Well, they're just in a suitcase. How did he hide them? You know? Did he try to? I'm pretty sure he put them in his butt. Anyway, let's go to the next story. Christina Aguilera looks so different after her haircut. Okay, the main reason I wanted to talk about this article, not that I care about Christina Aguilera, or not that I care about Christina Aguilera's hair. It's just the fact that this is a story at all. like, okay, imagine you're a journalist, you're a writer, right? You just got hired by this magazine. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm finally going to be able to do some hard-hitting reporting. Okay, boss, what's my first story? What should I write about? Should we write about the scandal in the Hollywood? Should we write about the sexual favors that people are given? Should we write about how all the production is moving overseas? What are we going to write about? What hot issue are we going to write about here? And the boss is like, okay, do you remember Christina Aguilera? And you're like, no, I'm only 23 years old. I have no idea who that is. It's like, okay, well, back in the late 90s, there was this girl, pop star. Her name was Christina Aguilera. She was like number two. Like at that time, number one was Britney Spears. And then there was also this other girl, Christina Aguilera, right? And Christina Aguilera was kind of shorter than Britney Spears, but she was also kind of hotter. And she had, but the thing is she wore like a lot more makeup. And, Britney Spears kind of had like the traditional girl next door look. And Christina Aguilera kind of had the like, sexy short Latina girl look. But she wore so much makeup, you didn't really know what her face actually looked like. And anyway, so she was kind of a hot pop star back in the day. And then, that kind of ended around like 2004. And then she's been doing, no one's paid attention to her for the last 20 years. But she just got a new haircut. And so I want you to write a story about that. The reporter's like, oh, Well, I'm glad I went to journalism school because okay, how many words does this need to be? It's like, we're going to need about 700 words about Christina Aguilera's new haircut. Okay. Are you sure you don't want just to have AI do it? Can you ask the AI to do it? Because I wasn't even born when this person was popular. Just ask the AI to do it. And the boss is like, oh, okay, you're fired. Anyway. I don't understand why did this even show up in my news feed? That's what I want to know. What's going on, Google? Why are you showing me news stories about Christina Aguilera's haircut? Actually, I was looking at the news today. I saw another one for what's that girl's name that used to be married to Tom Cruise? Nicole Kidman. I saw another one today for Nicole Kidman's haircut. It's like, what's going on here? Is this all we got? These are the only stories? These are the hot stories we got about famous people in the 90s haircut? Come on. Why don't you write a story about my haircut, all right? I shave it every day. All right, that's it for Make Jokes About the News Talk. There's no hot nerd talk this week. There's nothing really going on in the hot nerd community there. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed, or the one person that watches this on YouTube, you'll probably be disappointed. No, there's no hot nerd talk this week. Should we just listen to the song just for fun? It is kind of my favorite song that we have. Even though there's no hot nerd talk, let's listen to the song.
Hot nerd talk, don't tell any women. Hot nerd talk, don't tell any women.
All right, we don't have time to listen to the whole song there. Anyway, yeah, there's nothing going on in the video game news. So, no hot nerd talk. In fact, we only got one more story that involves the UFC. There's no pay-per-view. What are we even going to call them anymore? We can't call them pay-per-view UFCs because there is no more pay-per-view. Call them numbered UFCs. There's no numbered UFCs for the next couple weeks, so there's not going to be so much hot UFC talk. Of course, we do have this weekend. We got Aljamain Sterling versus I don't know, some other dude, but I don't know. Aljo's kind of old. I don't know who I'll bet on that one. Anywho, yeah. We got one hot UFC story, so let's go into hot UFC talk. All right, we got hot UFC talk. Brian Ortega breaks silence on his relationship with Tracy Cortez. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this. They were the hot UFC couple for a while there. Brian Ortega. He was with Tracy Cortez, and she's pretty good looking. She's decent looking, And there's a lot of stuff on Instagram of them kissing or whatever. I don't know. And then she'd be hanging out with other UFC guys, and they'd post a picture on Instagram, and then everyone would be like, "Oh my God, is she cheating on him? What's going on here?" And she'd be like, "No, we're just friends." Anyway, so apparently Brian Ortega has claimed that she was kind of crazy. She was a little, she was a little cray-cray. They went out for 2 years, but he says he knew 4 months into the relationship that it wasn't going to work, And then he just kind of kept going for like another year and a half. I understand how he feels. Yeah, sometimes you're in a relationship there and you don't know how to end it, and you're kind of hoping it'll get better, and then it never does, and then it's been 2 years, and it's 2 years later, and you're like, why didn't I end this like at the first month, Anyway, I don't know too much about Tracy Cortez there, but the thing is, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, in general, women are, compared to men, women are more emotional and less logical. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a fight with your significant other there, but all the ones I've ever had in all of my relationships there is because my girlfriend would be doing something illogical, and then I would point that out, and then she would get really pissed off at me. That's every fight I've ever had with a girlfriend is is me saying like, why are you doing that? That's not logical. And then she'd get really angry. That's basically every, I'd be like, okay, well, you're being overly emotional about something that doesn't really matter and that doesn't really make any sense. So why can we just not, why are we fighting about this? And then, she'd get even more pissed. That's basically every fight I've ever had. Anyway, okay. So, we just got that in general. In general, women tend to be more emotional and less logical. Now let's combine that with CTE. Which makes people, more impulsive. Like we got John Jones over here, which, okay, he's got a history of bad behavior, and who knows how much of that can we blame on him getting CTE there, because every concussion you get just kind of changes your thinking there, So I don't blame guys like John Jones. Of course it doesn't excuse their behavior there, but CTE is real, and it makes you impulsive, and it makes you make decisions that you wouldn't normally make had you never been punched in the face there, So let's just combine being a woman with CTE, and let's imagine trying to date that type of person there, like the Ronda Rouseys of the world, all these women that are in MMA. It's got to be tough. It's got to be real tough to date them. You got to deal with all the women stuff to begin with, and then on top of that, they have CTE, and they're making CTE decisions, Anyway, I guess Brian Ortega got sick of that, and he dumped her. And then of course Tracy Cortez, I guess she was going out with Alex Pereira for like a month, and then Alex Pereira dumped her. So whoever's planning on dating Tracy Cortez next, I don't know if she's single. Hey, Tracy Cortez, hit me up. I like crazy. I'm kind of into crazy, all right? So what are you doing later? I'm in Japan. Come to Japan. What are you doing later? If you're into crazy girls with CTE who don't make rational decisions, I'd say hang out at the UFC gyms. Of course, not a lot of UFC female fighters are very good looking. There's not some, most of them are kind of butch lesbians, but some of them are not so bad. They're not so bad looking, especially for UFC fighters, we got, I don't know, I'm trying to think of one. I guess Rose Namajunas. I think Rose Namajunas is probably the best looking UFC fighter. Like just face wise, not talking body wise, just face wise. But of course, she has her own emotional problems there. I'm not sure if it's from CTE, but she shaves her head there. She seems to have some type of I don't know, like mental problems. I don't know how to describe them, but I don't think getting punched in the head is the best base for a relationship, I guess is what I'm trying to say there, If you want a healthy relationship, if you want to build a family with someone, maybe stay away from people that have multiple concussions. That's all I'm saying. I guess that's it. That's all I'm saying. All right, I think that's it for today's podcast. Shall we listen to the intro song as an outro song? Let's do it. I know you guys missed that song. You didn't get to hear it. So we're listening to it now. Hope they'll get more than one person that watches the YouTube video there. This whole thing is a giant waste of time. I'm wasting my life.